Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is RetroDog34, and if you haven't yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It definitely helps out the channel. So on this video, we're going to go ahead and actually get into monster sets. We're going to talk about the tanking monster sets that are in Elder Scrolls Online. So as you know, tanks, we have to carry around a bunch of different type of sets. That includes different type of monster sets. So some of these are ones that I have as my go-to monster sets, and some of them are that I use in certain situations. So they all depend on where I'm going to play and what type of dungeon and different type of content I'm running. So without further ado, let's get into this. All right, so the first up is Lord Warden. This is by far one of the go-to sets for a lot of tanks, especially when you're first starting out. So Lord Warden adds 1,487 armor. In item number 2, when you get to your shoulders, when you take damage, you have a 50% chance to summon a shadow orb for 10 seconds. That increases the physical and spell resistance for you and your group members within 8 meters by 3,180. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. Again, this is a great set for beginning tanks. I know a lot of tanks that still use this for certain different type of end game content. This is by far sits in my backpack when I need to run certain dungeons and trials. This is one of my go-tos. All right, next up we got Kratos' Behemoth. This monster set right now is my number one set. This sits on my character at all times. This set for item number 1 adds 1,096 maximum magicka. Item number 2, this is where it gets nice and spicy, especially for your magicka based DPS. This dealing flame damage to an enemy grants you Behemoth's aura for 12 seconds that reaches up to 12 meters. You and up to 11 group members in the aura reduce flame damage taken by 5%. Enemies in the aura increase their flame damage taken by 5%. This can occur once every 15 seconds. This is one of these sets that I changed my weapon glyph for. What I did in this case is I changed it to a flame glyph, and that way every time I pierce armor, it goes ahead and creates that stack. I also do it infused. That way it's generating more often, and it's actually triggering. This is one of those go-to sets that I run almost constantly now. This is my favorite set, and I am glad ESO put this in the game. This is by far one of the best sets that I've run so far. All right, next up, Tremor Scale. Tremor Scale is one of my sets that I run, especially if I have a lot of DPS that are stamina based. So with Tremor Scale, item number 1 adds 1,096 maximum stamina. Number 2, when you activate a taunt ability, which we do as tanks all the time, on an enemy, you cause a Dune Ripper to burst from the ground beneath them after 1 second, dealing 6,000 physical damage to all enemies within 4 meters and reducing their physical resistance by 2395 for 8 seconds. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. This is a great set, especially trying to help out your DPS, stamina-based DPS with increasing their output. This is, again, one of those sets that I use based on the group that I'm working with or that I'm running with and what type of content. All right, next up is Gore. Gore is one of those sets that, especially if you're running content that you know is going to cause a lot of damage to you and your group, and you need that extra healing buff done as a just in case, or that that safety net that you have. So Gore on item 1 adds 4% healing done, which is a great bonus. Item 2, though, this is where the kicker comes in. When you heal yourself or a group member that is under 50% health, you conjure a pool of quenching blood underneath them, immediately removing all previous enemy placed effects, which is great for a nice cleanse, and healing the lowest health group member in that area for 29,700 health over 10 seconds. This effect can occur once every 20 seconds. Again, this was my go-to set before Incarnate's Behemoth came out. Now this is sitting in my backpack, depending on what type of content I'm running, depending what type of group makeup that I'm running, and also what type of trial I'm running. If I notice that my group is taking a lot more damage than I need, then I will definitely toss this on. Or if I run in content that I know I need to do a lot more cleansing, and since I play a Templar, I do have cleanse on my tank that I do toss on the ground. But if my Templar healer or the healer that is running with me does not have it slotted, this is something I do toss on to assist with running certain different type of content out there. Again, a lot of the sets that I'm talking about are all situational, except, and I'm going to say this, except for Incarnate's Behemoth. That's my go-to set that I constantly run on almost all the content I'm doing right now. But Earth Gore is definitely one of those that I will pull out of the bag depending on how that situation's running. All right, next up, Travoken. Travoken used to be my go-to set on my Templar, maybe about four patches ago. Travoken, item number 1 adds 1,206 maximum health, right? Great health set. Item number 2, when you take damage from a nearby enemy, you summon a growing pool of desecrated bile for 8 seconds. Enemies in the bile take 1,000 disease damage every 1 second and are affected for minor maim and disease status for 4 seconds, reducing the damage done by 5% and healing received and health recovery by 8%. This effect can occur every 16 seconds. It used to be a lot lower. This effect could actually trigger a lot quicker. They actually ISO up this to 16 seconds, making it not so great, especially for, I ran this on my Templar tank as the main set prior to running Earth Gore. This was really my go-to, especially for that minor maim and the diseased status effect. But jumping it up to 16 seconds, in my opinion, kind of removed the necessity for running it. It didn't proc fast enough. So this definitely sits in my backpack. I pull it out when I need to do more damage to inflict on the boss. But typically right now, especially under the new patches or the new patch, this is definitely just sitting in my backpack. It's golded out. I'm not going to do anything with it. It's just going to sit there until the new patch comes out, where I see certain things are going to be triggered where Travokens might go back into a full rotation. All right, next up, Mighty Chudan. Mighty Chudan is definitely a situational type of monster set. This is one that I run on different type of builds and different type of contents. So Mighty Chudan, item number 1, adds 1,487 armor, which is great. Item number 2 adds 1,206 maximum health, and you also gain major resolve at all times, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 5,948. Again, this is a very situational type of monster set. Some of the different type of contents I run with this is content that I know I'm going to get a lot of physical and I need the physical and spell resistance. So like Moon Hunter Keep is definitely one of those that I would probably end up running with this, especially if I'm trying to do like a speed run or a no death. I need that physical and spell resistance on my tank to assist me in getting to that end game accomplishment or achievement. This is again one of those. It is very situational. It sits in my backpack. It's golded out. Has all the enchantments sitting on it, but it comes out on different type of content that I'm running. Mostly the ones that I definitely know I need physical and spell resistance for. Okay, so the next 2 sets that I'm actually going to talk about are very situational, especially if you're a brand new tank getting into this and you don't have Lord Warden yet, or you're finding yourself struggling with resource management. So these 2 extra sets that I'm tossing in here are especially for those cases. There's been cases where I've started a brand new tank and I noticed that my resource management, especially if it is a brand new tank, like I just created a sort tank or a warden tank. These things or these tanks and the play style is a little different than I normally play with, especially for my Necro or my DK or Templar as my main. So I had to figure out what my resource management were for these. So these two new sets are strictly for figuring out what those resource management type of setups are going to be before you jump into different type of sets. All right, first up is Engine Guardian. This was the set that I used before the next set that I'm getting ready to talk about. So this is one of those sets that is really great in helping your resource management, like I was saying. So Engine Guardian adds 129 health recovery. It's good, but not great. Item number 2, when you use an ability, you have a 25% chance to summon a Dwemer automation to restore 5,050 stamina or magicka or 1,955 health to you every 0.5 seconds for 6 seconds. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. Here's the problem with that. It is a dice roll on which one it's going to do. So you will not get stamina back to back, you won't get magicka back to back, you won't get health back to back. So it automatically depends on basically a roll of the dice on which one's going to pop up. So this was one that I was using in the beginning. Engine Guardian is great. I don't knock it, and I don't knock any tanks that use this, but it's definitely a gamble, especially if you're finding yourself low in stamina, and then all of a sudden the system decides that it's going to roll for magicka and you're starting to get magicka recovery. That's not something that you actually needed. What you needed was your stamina recovery or your full health, and all of a sudden it decides to trigger and you're getting health buff again for something that you don't need. So this again was one of those sets that I started out with, especially I think I was playing this with my Warden tank, and I noticed that my stamina recovery wasn't the greatest. And then one of my members in my Twitch community jumped into chat and mentioned this next set. Again, this is not a bad set. If you have Engine Guardian, definitely run Engine Guardian until you get this next set. This next set that I'm about to talk about it was a game changer, especially in trying to figure out my resource management when I first started tanking on different builds. All right, so this set, Stonekeeper. Stonekeeper has completely replaced Engine Guardian for me, especially when I'm starting a brand new tank, very similar to my Warden tank when I had just created, or my Sork tank that I just created. Stonekeeper has replaced as my go-to resource management type of helm. So once I figure out how that play style is with those that different type of tank, then this is eventually going to get replaced with Incarnate's Behemoth, or with a Lord Warden's, or even Earth Gore. So right now, Stonekeeper is on as my go-to for my newbie tanks, I'll say. So item number 1 adds 543 maximum stamina, adds 548 maximum magicka, and adds 603 maximum health. Item number 2, when you block, which we do a lot, when you block an attack, you gain an energy charge stack. When you gain 6 charges, you release the energy, restoring 2,480 stamina and magicka. And you also heal for 2,480. After releasing the charges, you cannot regain new charges for 14 seconds. Charges can be accumulated up to once every 0.25 seconds. This changed the way resource management went for my newbie tanks, especially from going from Engine Guardian to this, where Engine Guardian, like I mentioned before, was a coin flip, and you basically, it was a luck of the draw, right? You didn't know which one you were going to get. Was it going to be that green light? Was it going to be a red light, or was it going to be a blue light? And what I mean by that is a tether that comes off the Dwimmer, right? So you didn't know which one you were getting. In this, every time the energy charge goes ahead and releases, which is after 6 stacks, it goes ahead and restores your stamina magicka, and it also heals you. This changed the way I started looking at different type of sets, especially in resource management. This changed the game for me, especially on my new tanks. If I would recommend a monster set for new tanks, Stonekeeper would be my go-to one. And then I would go ahead and try to tackle for Lord Warden or Earth Gore or Tremor Scale and Incarnate's Behemoth. I would go after those at a later date. I would definitely try to get Stonekeepers first, get that knocked out. If I needed to start off at a base set, it would definitely be maybe Engine Guardian, then move up to Stonekeepers. But if I had a good group, I would definitely start out with Stonekeepers. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. I put it together wanting to talk. I was actually talking with my community about this. They were asking me a lot of different things in my Twitch channel, and a lot of it always kind of revolved around what type of monster set I was running. And because I do run different type of content, I usually do like speed runs, no deaths, or different type of achievements, and to include, vet trials, and we're putting together our core team now for endgame content. So a lot of members in my community were asking what type of monster sets I run on my different type of tanks. So I decided to put this video together to help the community, especially for new tanks getting into the tanking role. A lot of questions come up about what type of sets they should be running, and a lot of great information's out there, a lot of bad information's out there. So what I want to do is make sure that you guys get some decent information, especially for new tanks just starting out in ESO. One of the things that I always tell people is it depends on what type of content you are running. So again, it's very situational. It all depends on, are you doing like a speed run, or are you doing a no death? It all depends. What type of makeup do you have? What type of DPS are you using? What type of what's your healer look like? What type of dungeon is it? So that's why as tanks, we need to have a lot of sets. We need to have a lot of monster sets. So one of the next videos I'm going to talk about is the different type of sets I run and use in different type of content. So I definitely hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and definitely if you check me out on Tuesday, Thursdays, Saturday, and Sundays, where I stream. You can find me at twitch.tv/retrodog34, or you could find me on Instagram at retrodog34. I'm also on Twitter, which I don't post a lot, but you can find me over there at retrodog34. I'm almost on every single social media platform as retrodog34. I do stream on Xbox NA server, so if you do decide to hop in and you want to team up and do different type of contents, just shoot me a message in Xbox chat and hit me up over there. I also have a Discord down in my bio section. You could definitely click on that and join our growing community where we talk about Elder Scrolls. We also talk about anime and comic books every now and then. So definitely jump in over there and join the community. Again, I appreciate you guys watching the video. And if you haven't, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. It definitely helps out my channel. You guys have a great day and happy adventuring in Elder Scrolls Online.